Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle book review of Treasure, and it's very hard to read actually, Treasure Book of Comics. You can see it's slightly better on the spine, the Treasure Book of Comics. I wonder why they didn't go for the gold on the... Very strange. However, it really looks quite nice, this sort of style. Maybe there was a wraparound cover. I'm quite certain there was. Obviously that's long gone. However, I couldn't find any information particularly about this book. Probably well known, but however, I couldn't find any. And you've got there the various contributors. You've got Odhams Press, Longacre and London. Got some really good artwork, and you've actually got the contents at the front. So let's just get the contents up there so you can see the contents. So you've got some comic stories. You've got quite a few comic stories. You've got Red Falcon, The Mill's Secret, Kid McBride, Luck of the Flying Twins, Terror Trail, Capture of Massoud, Afu's Gift, A Flying Kick. And also you've got Tish and Tosh, Wash and Buckle, To the Rescue, Ivory City and many more. When I first saw this, I thought, actually many of the pictures, many of the artwork, I thought, it looks like 1930s, 1940s, that sort of style that we'd see in DC Comics. But it's not always. I mean, I think that's quite well drawn. That looks really good. And this one as well, Red Falcon and Pal Snubby, or The Mill's Secret. And obviously the policeman and etc. All the stories give it away that it is obviously a UK piece of artwork. It's not clearly, but of course the Western ones could have easily come from America. Kid McBride, so it beats the bandits. Maybe they did. I don't know. It's very hard to say. I'm not familiar with the artists. Maybe they were. But Luck of the Flying Twins, and again, this obviously story looks and seems to be obviously a UK one. You've got some great little artwork there. That looks pretty. Two Average Men, it says there. The Runaway. Got some. So you've got some like basic, obviously, text stories as well as comic books. And Terror Trail there. Again, very decent artwork all the way through this. And you've got this Tish and Tosh. Some of the stories may be a bit obviously of their period. This is the best way of describing it. I always describe it that way. There's some things you think, maybe not. Probably wouldn't get away with some of these things now in some of the comic books. Tale of Robin Hood, To the Rescue! And actually, that's not too bad. Again, I have no idea who drew that. This one again, another story that sort of like when you look at it initially, you think, could easily be like 1930s. Make an electric crane. Okay, maybe I will, maybe I won't. Also, you've got some very comic chuckle. I never understood these sections. They seem to be out of place. And actually, when you look at the artwork, there, and you can see that it looks, to me, quite early. Some of the characters look straight out of 1920s, 1930s. So some of those cartoons, I'm certain some of those cartoons maybe are not 1950s. I assume the book is 1950s. It'd be very weird if this was 1930s. But just some of them just seem to be old-fashioned in a weird style. And you've got the artwork there. You obviously got a bit of a science fiction one, the Space Serpent. And this one is made and printed in Great Britain, it says there. But it doesn't really give much detail in terms of it could be anything. However, I just love these sort of books. I'm always picking these books up. And they're always great to read through. And they do have some genuinely good stories. Not all. Some are terrible. But I think some are decent. I actually love the humour bits more than the some of the action stories particularly. The action stories often are obviously very British Imperial, which of course that's obviously the time. So it's no point in saying that they wouldn't do that sort of story. It'd be very weird if they had done stories otherwise. Still, fascinating book. The Treasure Book of Comics. Like I say, I suspect there was a wraparound at some point maybe. Or maybe it was done like this. It'd be very weird. However, it's very enjoyable. Worth checking out if you get these sort of annuals. I think UK annuals, so many of them, there's very little detail about most of them. Obviously, there's an annual price guide. Maybe I should have a check to see if it's mentioned in there. Who knows?